Today we will analyze and discuss the strange portrait of King Charles. This is officially the first official portrait of King Charles since his coronation. Before giving my opinion, I would like you to observe the details of this painting. This portrait was painted by Jonathan Yeo, a British artist who has painted some celebrities and authorities. The choice of this artist is not random. The symbolism here is evident. The first thing we notice is this red tone throughout the painting. Both the background and the king's clothes are covered in red, but his head and hands are not. The predominant red is not just any red. It is a red with orange tones, known as scarlet red. This is the color that represents the blood of Christ. In the past, it was only used by the high clergy and very rich and powerful people, as it was one of the most expensive natural pigments of all. However, it is also seen in some royal garments, but the hidden meaning of scarlet goes much further. The most famous occultist in the world, Aleister Crowley, spoke of the goddess Babylon, one of the pillars of Thelema. In her abstract form, she represents the female sexual impulse, liberation, and Mother Nature in her most fertile aspect. In the occult sense, she represents the creative principle, the bride of chaos. She is a fundamental piece of the great cosmic scheme. In the Bible, she is depicted as the whore of Babylon. In the book of Revelation, she appears riding a beast. She is described as the representation of false religion, the mother of the abominations of the earth, drunk with the blood of the saints and the martyrs of Christ. This is the red that covers the painting, the scarlet red, the red of Babylon, which represents the government of men. This is in Thelema, and it is also in chapter 17 of the book of Revelation. The scarlet blood color symbolizes the devastation caused by British colonizations. The monarchy carries this burden. Hence the royal garments are completely covered in red. The crests of Charles's coat of arms are washed in scarlet because the monarchy is covered in blood. However, only his hands and head are clean, because above his title there is a man, and this man is not a king. This man is a globalist, and he is clean from the blood of those whose lives the monarchy has taken. Now notice how the red in this painting is spread, as if everything is burning or smoldering. This effect produces the impression of flames. The monarchy is portrayed as an institution that is burning, something that no longer exists. But this empty expression of Charles amidst the blood and flames is not a common look. It is the look of someone who probably would not burn in the fire. But wait, this is another part of the story. We see over his shoulder a butterfly. However, we know that the butterfly has its symbolic meanings, and we also know that the monarchy has been grounded in symbolism since ancient times. The butterfly was a request from the king himself. It was not in the artist's plans. In fact, not only the butterfly, but everything in this painting has symbolic value. No element of this painting is mere chance or just artistic freedom. There are three layers of interpretation here. The first, which everyone knows, is that this butterfly is a monarch butterfly. Indeed, King Charles is a monarch, which justifies the choice of the butterfly species to represent his title. The second layer, the butterfly represents a cycle of transformation, rebirth, renewal. Could it be a symbol or sign of new times? It is worth remembering that we are close to the end times, with an imminent reversal of the Earth's magnetic field, where the skies will turn red, which could also justify the choice of red for the painting. A sign that we are close to a renewal, where the world will return to what it was in the pre-flood era, as in the days of Noah. It could also signify the end of the old monarchy and the birth of the new world order, or perhaps both interpretations simultaneously. And finally, we have the third layer. Knowing that the person in the portrait is Charles Philip Arthur George, or Charles III, the monarch butterfly has an interesting characteristic. According to science, this is a species that can transmit genetic traits very quickly. So, from one generation to another, they can transform in many ways. This is useful for them to become immune to certain toxins, adapt to predators, and so on. So, think of the monarch butterfly as an animal that can completely transform in a short amount of time. And this monarch butterfly symbol is the code name for an extremely controversial and illegal CIA program Monarch Program, or MKUltra, which began in the 50s and officially extended until the early 70s. We will address this subject better in another video, but basically, it is a program that consisted of physically and psychologically torturing a person until their consciousness was reset, ready to be programmed in any way desired. A true brainwashing and mental manipulation of the individual. We must start from the following reasoning. The world is commanded by a series of hierarchies. Nation leaders do not command practically anything. They are just puppets at the disposal of an economic, political, and spiritual elite. And the same goes for celebrities and CEOs of large companies. Basically, any person who, for any reason, has the power and resources to influence masses of people. Most of these people are victims of mind control. This mind control is based on the psychological trauma program MKUltra, Project Monarch. And it practically commands our world, because through the mind control of celebrities, the elites can influence the behavior and thinking of the masses. Basically, any person who, for any reason, has the power and resources to influence masses of people. Most of these people are victims of mind control. This mind control is based on the psychological trauma program MKUltra, Project Monarch. And it practically commands our world, because through the mind control of celebrities, the elites can influence the behavior and thinking of the masses. Have you ever stopped to think about where your opinions come from? The things you believe? The things you choose to obtain for consumption? Are these thoughts and choices naturally yours? Or are they shaped within your mind by external influences? Here we will analyze some of King Charles's statements in the media.
Now, it is time to take it to the next level. In order to secure our future and to prosper, we need to evolve our economic model. I've come to realize that it is not a lack of capital that is holding us back, but rather the way in which we deploy it. Therefore, to move forward, we need nothing short of a paradigm shift. We have a golden opportunity to seize something good from this crisis. Its unprecedented shockwaves may well make people more receptive to big visions of change. Global crises like pandemics and climate change know no borders and highlight just how interdependent we are as one people sharing one planet.
Besides all this, we have another very interesting hidden detail. Some people, by mirroring, rotating, and slightly changing the color tones of the painting, found a Baphomet within the image. The name for this is pareidolia, a tendency of our brains to form images of faces in inanimate objects, but in this case, these pareidolia seem intentional. Look, for example, at the dimensions of the canvas, 8 feet 6 inches by 6 feet 6 inches. Anyway, this is not just any painting. This is the portrait of the current monarch of the United Kingdom. This is a painting that will rest for eternity in the royal quarters. Leave your opinion about the painting in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.